Hey, Ola, can you not record yet?
I'd rather leave it that way just because I have to finish converting the live stream from Facebook to YouTube, and it's giving me a hard time, so I don't want you to lose your live stream.
Okay. All right, so um just wanted to say that I messed up because I did not send the speaker the agenda and the link until this morning. I forgot. So I'm hoping that she is able to come on.
Okay. I'll be back. I'll bring the phone.
Did you visit close the Native American exhibit at the Natural History Museum?
Sorry, can't hear you.
They closed the exhibit for Native Americans at the Natural History Museum. But I still see on our state flag, we still have Native Americans depicted, and is that going to be also changed or?
Well, outside the purview of this committee.
That's true.
Also, the issue with the closing of the
Exhibit.
of the exhibition is very, very different than the use of Native American in this context in that way.
Mhm.
I mean, off the top of my head, for example, the use of Native Americans in the statue of Roosevelt outside
Mhm.
of the
Right.
museum
Mhm.
was very not equal. These
Mhm.
two are standing side by side in a way that suggests equality, partnership, collaboration, non-dominance in particular. So while an argument can certainly be made for removing it, an argument could also be made for not. It's not degrading in the same way that displaying people's bodies
Okay,
because it's archaeologically incorrect. Right?
right. Is that
Um,
what the problem was with the exhibit?
Yes,
Okay,
yes. I mean, if you look at what,
and most of them were closed.
yes, but there are artifacts which may be of, uh, suppose, for example, there were a Jewish exhibit and the Torah was on the floor.
Okay,
And,
see.
you know, they had examples of the trappings of Jewish life used in a way that Jews would not actually use them.
Mhm.
That's like, ooh, check this out. That's really cool.
Right,
It's completely disrespectful to both the stuff and the people who
I
use
see.
it. We don't be pissed.
and we're a self-deprecating family, so I don't know about my family, but.
I mean, okay, fair, but yeah, so I think
The
because there's
worst things I've
some-
heard are from actual fellow Jews.
also true, but those are choices we get to make for ourselves.
True, yes.
Other
true,
people do not get to, and the things that you will say to your family,
Yes.
if anybody said them to you, you would be offended and rightfully so. In any event,
I agree. I hear what you're
the
saying. I hear what you're
things, the ways in which Native Americans and the
Unfortunately, our speaker has not jumped on board yet, but this is the Community Board 12 Committee for Concerns of the Aging. I'm calling this meeting to order on Thursday, February 1st at 10:50 a.m. We don't have quorum yet. I hope we will.
It says you are in a practice session, start webinar.
Yeah, it's working from inside. If anybody would like coffee, the coffee is here on the table.
Mary, you could go ahead and press the button now that says start webinar if you see it.
Okay, cool.
You're good to go.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we're calling this meeting to order at 10:50 a.m. on February 1st. This is the Community Board 12 Committee for Concerns of the Aging. Unfortunately, our speaker has not jumped on board yet. So, and we do not have quorum. So, let's start with introductions. I'm Mary Anderson. I'm chair of this committee. James?
James Bosley, I'm a member of this committee, also a member of Traffic and Transportation. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Liz Ritter. I'm a member of the committee.
Carol Weeks, I'm Dykeman Senior Center OAC Director and a member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Hannah May Cantor. I am a member of the committee and also for the Committee for Education.
All right.
I'm Alana from
sorry.
Riverstone Senior Life
Go ahead.
Service.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Shuli?
Hi, good morning. I'm Shuli Gottman. I'm the director of Mariah Senior Center, and I'm also on the board of WICOA.
Stephanie?
Morning, I'm Stephanie Cruz and I'm the program manager at Star Senior Center. I'm here on behalf of Lady for Peña.
Liliette?
Good morning, everyone. Liliet Lopez, Night Connects, and Brooklyn Outreach Specialist.
All right. I don't think I missed anyone.
Yep, you did.
Yes, I did.
I guess at the end of-
I
Oh,
think
I'm
Toby.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead. Introduce yourself.
I'm a Columbia social work student and I'm intern at the Neurological Institute at the Irving Medical Center. So I'm just attending to get a sense in aging and dementia. So I'm trying to get a sense
Okay.
of what
You've come to the right position.
Yeah.
Thanks.
There's some people I keep getting emails from saying they're having some difficulty joining. It says the webinar will begin soon and they're not in. I don't know what that's about.
I don't know.
Go ask, you don't control the webinar, right? You just control
No,
the.
yeah.
Let me go ask.
Yeah, they probably have to just try to go back again because we were in a practice session to just a couple of seconds ago.
Okay.
I think they need to be promoted or something.
No, well,
No, that's not the case. I have that here. I'm controlling the
Oh,
okay, there's more people coming in now.
Okay,
Richard, could you do your introduction?
I will do that. I'm Richard Allman. I'm a member of this committee and I work as a director for one of ARC Fort Washington's senior centers, the A. Philip Randolph Senior Center. As for this morning, I think the reason that everyone's coming in late is that we were getting the message. Those of us who are coming virtually, we were getting the message. The webinar will begin soon. And it's only about 2 minutes ago that changed and we were able to get in.
Okay. Toby?
Hi, everyone. I'm Toby Weiss, Assistant Vice President of Cultural Diversity from MJHS Hospice and Palliative Care. Can you hear me? So I'm not sure.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Lisa is in the chat.
Hi, can you
There you
hear
go.
me? Yes,
Yes.
okay, you can hear me, but we're not all seen. So I'm Lisa Beth Miller, and I'm the Outreach and Referral Coordinator at Lighthouse Guild, and I appreciate being here to make sure to hear what I can and to let people know that I'm available for any questions about helping people that have vision loss. I'm doing some presentations that are free for anybody who's anxious about traveling because they can't see well. And these are Zooms, and I'd like just people to be aware of sharing that because I think a lot of people feel better once they see it.
Hey, Miriam.
Hi, I'm Miriam Ravner. I'm an outreach coordinator and cultural sensitivity liaison at MJHS Hospice, and I had 20 minutes worth of trouble getting on, so something was not coordinated. Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks for having me.
Sorry about that, everybody. Ashley.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ashley Carlos. I am the outreach social worker at Neighborhood Shops Elder Justice Program.
And I doubt that it's Awana. It's probably Maria. Luna.
Hi, good morning. You are right. We are trying to get in, and the link, well, I don't have to tell you, everybody's going through the same thing. I would just like to be added as the member of the advisory board of the DIFTA, although I don't have a report, but would like to be noted as attending the meeting.
Thank you for joining us. Did I miss anybody now at this point?
Hi,
and I'm sorry.
it's Diane Ashley. Good morning, everybody. Chief Marketing and Communications Officer for MJHS Health System, and also representing Isabella Center today.
Thank you. 2, 5, 6. We have quorum. No, Richard's on Zoom. I'm sorry. I still get confused about who's counted and who's not.
You can vote, you don't.
All right. All right, so thank you, everybody, for coming on. I appreciate. We were supposed to have a presentation from Barbara Bear from the home sharing program, the New York Foundation for Senior Citizens. She is not yet on the call.
You have her number, if I can call her.
Didn't she come?
She came to Waikoa, yes.
Uh-huh.
I
And
don't,
that's why she was
I
invited.
have her email,
Yosef is on.
but I
his
don't know if
way.
I have it on here, huh?
Yosef is almost here, so we'll have.
Oh,
quorum.
okay.
He will bring a quorum with him when he arrives.
Okay. Hang on a sec. No, I don't have her information on my phone. On my computer.
I can give you the number because that's.
You have it?
Foundation. Correct. 212. This is the main number. 962 7559. Just ask for Barbara Bear. Thank you.
Like I said, I was negligent and I forgot somehow to send out the agenda and the link to her until this morning, so. But we had confirmed. Um, I guess we can talk one thing about, because we have to wait on the reso until we have quorum. Oh, I can talk about the committee meeting time. We had talked in this committee about trying to have the meeting earlier.
Sure, we can send.
But unfortunately, the office staff is very short of people right now. Ebenezer is currently on vacation this week. So there's only Ebenezer, who's the district manager, and Paola Garcia, who is the office assistant. And due to all of the meetings that they have to organize and be at, I'm sorry?
What's Barbara's email?
It's on my computer at home.
What
Sorry.
happened when they died? You
She
didn't
spoke to
ask?
her.
Oh, she spoke.
She was talking to her and she asked her to send her the email.
Oh, okay. So, anyway, in terms of the time of the meeting, they're unable to do an earlier meeting at this time because they've got evening meetings to cover as well. And they're really stretched thin, in trying to do that. So they're not able to accommodate an earlier start for us until more staff is hired. There is a full-time position and a half-time position open that they are in the process of beginning to interview for and eventually hire for, but we don't know how soon that'll happen. But once there's a full complement of staff on board, then we can reinvent the wheel and try to accommodate an earlier start time, probably like 9:30, because it takes, once staff get in, they have to set everything up for the meeting too. They try to do it the night before, but it doesn't always work out that way with setting up, the owl and the computers and how it works to record the meeting.
Mary,
Yes.
just to comment real briefly, I was the person who made noise on this initially. And the reason for doing that was to get less travel time during the workday. And at least speaking for me, 9:30 isn't a solution to that. If it's 9 o'clock or even earlier and I can come directly there as part of starting the workday and then get out a little earlier, it makes a difference. For me anyway, 9:30 has the same problem as 10:30.
Anybody else have any other comment about that?
I think that it's, what are we talking about, an hour and a?
Starting the meeting earlier.
Yeah, I
At
know,
9:30
I
rather
know.
than 10:30, yeah.
It just seems like
Because-
there are a lot of obstacles for one reason or another
Mm.
for us. That's what I'm thinking.
Do you personally have a preference? If it were entirely up to you and we only did it how you wanted, what would be your preference?
My preference would be to leave. Truthful. Because I can go to the office, I can come here from the office, but at least I know that the place is still standing. Good morning.
Good morning, come on in.
I mean, there are no problems. That's just me.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Carmen Nunez, community coordinator.
Hello.
We're in the middle of a discussion, so hang on a second, and then I'll introduce you.
I have a question.
Yes.
In order to have a quorum, do you need people there in person or can they be coming by Zoom?
In person,
They have to be in person.
unless there's an outstanding,
It depends.
reason. Yeah.
According to the New York State Open Meetings Law, people who are attending have to be attending in person unless they are absent for a reason that is recognized by our minutes, by our bylaws, such, for example, as bereavement or illness, or there are a couple of other things, or to have an underlying medical condition which provides a reasonable fear or concern of being in a public meeting with other people. In which case you can zoom in and count for quorum. That point is all now moot because we have a sixth member who has arrived in person and we now have a quorum. Thank you, Rabbi Kalinsky. As for the start time, I personally am fine with keeping it the way it is and am also fine with moving it if that makes it easier for people. I don't love 9 o'clock, but I can do that. So whatever makes it easier to get a quorum, I think is what we should do. And I am very sorry I have to take this.
Okay, that's okay. You're.
Before you go on, I just have one quick suggestion. I wonder if it's possible to begin the process, since everything's so slow, of advocating for changing that, since Zoom has become a very decent way of functioning and getting things done. So rather than just letting things continue along, how about advocating for changing that? Because my whole life is on Zoom practically now. Things have changed. So I just encourage advocacy for that.
We have advocated for it,
right?
But it's up to the state. It's not the community board's decision. It's a state mandate.
So states are also made of people, and there are people that are, when you find the right person to help you advocate, you can advocate to the state, right?
I'm guessing this, I also sit on, I don't sit on the committee, but I attend and report out on the Health and Environment Committee meetings, which, by the way, occur today and run from 7 until typically 9:30 at night, which is why I'm sure they don't want to start earlier because it's a really long day. I think the overarching community board is going to have to advocate for it. I think it needs to be and I know people, because I listen to it on other community board meetings. But I don't think they're going to take it just out of our committee, if you will. I think it's going to need to get elevated in order for anybody to address it in a significant way. Did you have something, Richard? I'm sorry.
No, I'm going to add an exclamation point and a note to what you're saying. You are on target. Diane, are you finished? I don't want to cut in before.
No, there's nothing more. It's like, after that, it's just redundant.
The biggest piece of it, I think, is the community board process, which goes through Mary, up to the executive committee, up to the board chair, who meets with the borough president and the other 11 Manhattan board chairs at least once a month. That may be coordinated with, I don't think it's usually coordinated with board chairs and borough presidents for other boroughs, but it probably could be. And I'd say beyond that, any bug we plant in the ear of state legislators, at least a little bit of a step forward.
Okay, Liz?
It's state law, and while we're all on record as to our preferences, it feels tedious to keep discussing the thing that we would all like and over which we have absolutely no control. So I respectfully request that we move the agenda.
Agreed. Okay. So now that we have, now that we have quorum, we can go back onto the other things on the agenda, but I want to introduce Carmen Munoz, who is the Community Coordinator for Community Affairs Bureau of NYPD. We welcome you. We'll get further onto, we'll give you a moment in a little bit, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Appreciate your coming. In person. All right, way to go. So let's go back to D on the agenda, the resolution, which we discussed at our last meeting. Paola, can you pull that reso up and share it on the screen? Don't know.
I don't have that in advance. I would have to toggle. What would you like me to pull up? Or maybe I could bring you over copies. You didn't give me a heads up. What are you looking for?
I'll forward it to you, Paola.
Thank you, Liz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mary,
Go ahead.
may I just suggest the point of process that we now need to call the meeting to order?
She just did.
I did that.
Oh, then you're gonna see a red face here. Okay.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
I'm sorry, and Joseph Kowinski, I forgot to introduce, I'm sorry. We've had a strange start to our meeting, so.
Where are we attending?
All right, well, if we're doing that, we can go ahead and talk about I have under new business, the possibility of a future presentation, however, sort of out of order. But under new business, do you think is there anything that anybody would like to bring up at this point? Seeing nothing. Then we can go to just briefly to future speakers. I'm trying to arrange through Sandra Harris. Dr. Lisa Hark is doing research, vision research, with glaucoma. And I know that Dory Garcia at her center is working with her on this project as well. But trying to get her to do her presentation because she would like to have a letter of support, which we are now obliged to have a reso rather than a letter of support. So I'm trying to get her for next month. I haven't heard yet from Sandra Harris whether she can present next month or not. When I get that information. Richard also, I know, I see your hand, Richard, I've got it.
Yes, Richard.
There.
Hi, Yana, how are you?
I'm good. You?
Good. So, Yana, you sent me a letter about
Ilana?
I think you sent that to me already, but I'm not located.
Ilana, can you mute yourself?
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Of course.
I'll probably do that, but it takes me time to figure it out. Okay, so we talked about the possibility of having the State Society on Aging do a presentation, and Richard has been kind enough to be in touch with somebody about that. And I'm trying to find my paper about it. So Richard, could you just speak briefly about that as a possible presentation?
Sure. New York State Society on Aging is an organization of aging providers, advocates, other groups. They come together in an annual conference. They do quite a bit of They do quite a bit of work on aging issues in the state capitol and elsewhere around the state. I was fortunate to attend last October's conference, They are also part of the National American Society on Aging, and I'm going to attend that the end of March and would be glad to talk about whatever needs to be brought back here after that. Just connected Mary with board members and president of the State Society on Aging. And if I can cut in one other thing here, if it would be helpful for me to try to reach Dr. Lisa Hark directly, I'd be glad to do that.
Say that again, sorry.
If it would be helpful for me to try to reach Dr. Lisa Hark directly, I'd be glad to do that.
Who is
Oh,
Lisa
okay.
Hart and how do you spell her last name?
Hark.
And who is she?
She is a researcher with Columbia, and she's working on vision issues. This current research project is having to do with glaucoma. She has presented in the past to us. I can't remember how long ago it was, but it's a while ago she presented on another vision research project that she was doing.
Okay, thank you.
And that would be a reso item. We'll get her. Yes, Richard, that would be helpful. Thank you. I think Sandra gets overwhelmed sometimes with everything she has to do, so.
I think all 15 people on this call do, but we all have long lists. Mary, what is it exactly that we're asking her?
Sorry?
What is it exactly that we're asking Dr. Hark to do?
Present her research, her current research project.
At any of the upcoming meetings? Or
Yeah, I mean, it depends on when we want to do the State Society.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. My preference, but this is personal. Okay, my preference is, since I'm not going to be here in March, and I'll bring that up later, I would like to have the State Society present in April. Lisa Hark and Dr. Hark in March, because I've heard her, other presentations before, and I'm, but the State Society, I'm interested in, hearing myself, but that's me.
Gotcha.
Okay, are we able to go back to the reso, or? Can we go back to the reso? Paola? Is that?
Mary, I got you. I just got the email. Give me a second to open it up. I got you. Give me 1 second.
Do you want to introduce it while she was finding it?
I'm sorry?
Do you want to introduce it and talk about what we discussed last?
Yes.
That's by way of introduction. By the time you're done, I'm sure.
So this resolution we talked about doing last month after the presentation we had from a lady named Laura Whitehorn, who is co-founder of an organization called RAP. That's RAPP. The Release Aging People in Prison. They have been trying to get bills passed and talked about, in many different venues about people who are 55 and older, who have been in prison for more than 15 years, to be released from prison. Because it's been found that the longer they spend in prison, the sicker they get. They age quickly in prison. And by the time they get out, if they get out, they're really not able to reintegrate into society. And it's been found that if they are released at a reasonable time, that they are able to integrate back into society and, in fact, become very productive members of society, as was evidenced by a gentleman who was with Laura at the presentation last month. So Liz,
Yeah, just a quick process thing. Since we discussed this very extensively last month, in the minutes today, I'm gonna just reference, I'm not gonna really capture any of that information. I'm gonna reference last month's minutes. And when we circulate this month's minutes and this reso to the full board, I'm gonna ask the board to just attach last month's minutes so that people have the benefit of last month's discussion without me having to like use different words to say literally the same thing.
perfect.
But I also am just curious, is there anybody in attendance, whether they count for quorum or not? Because you can vote even though you don't count for quorum, Richard. Is there anybody in attendance today who was not in attendance last month? Who is okay. So then for your benefit, I would suggest we have a kind of rehashed discussion so that you're on board with what we talked about last month and less for Mary's, Yosef's, Maya, and Richard's benefit, because we're all sort of in agreement on what that was. So you were on Zoom, and so you were present for the discussion, and you were present for the discussion. Were you present
I was
on
not
Zoom?
present, I was
Okay.
out of the country.
Yeah, as was I. Okay. Okay, so for James's benefit,
There
to
you
bring
go.
him up to speed, no, it's probably, it's an interesting thing, and besides, who knows, you're raising, you might get
I
busted,
did
you
read
might
it,
be
I
in
did
prison.
read the.
Okay. You have questions?
No, I don't, I think it's, I don't.
So then, is there really anything to discuss?
Very moving and interesting.
Yeah. What's taking us so long?
Oh, here we go. Here's the
Yeah,
res.
here we-
Has
okay,
anybody
the
seen the
reso is
draft
there,
for them?
but if you wanna, I have my copy here.
Oh, thank you. I can't
Review it.
There's a very moving scene that and funnily enough, I happened to see that movie right a few days after we had this whole discussion. And there's a scene that's very pertinent to the value of aging parolees aging prisoners who have spent a long time in prison and the value that they have to community when they are discharged. And I thought, the universe is trying to tell me something.
So anyway, this reso, is to, support the passing of the two bills.
So if it's in support of the
Yeah, can you
passing
read
of
the,
the
can you just read the resolves? So we know what we're voting on.
Resolved, Community Board 12 Manhattan supports the passage into law of New York State Senate Bill S15A and its corresponding Assembly Bill A2035. And be it further resolved, Community Board 12 Manhattan calls on the chairs of the New York State Senate Committee on Crime Victims, Crime and Corrections and the New York State Assembly Standing Committee on Corrections to move these bills out of committee for action on the respective legislative bodies' floors and urges Governor Kathy Hochul to sign such a bill into law. And by both bills, I assume you mean the Senate and the Assembly bills. They're okay. Got it. So is there any objection to this resolution? No. Cool.
Voting or we're just saying?
We're
no
voting.
objections?
Or voted, because unless there's anybody
If
against.
there's no objection, then that is voting.
Right.
Okay, so
That
that's,
was my question.
so that's unanimous with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Richard, are you yes or no? Thumbs up? That was a hand?
I'm yes on this.
So that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, by which I need 7.
7, yeah. All right.
Cool. That was easy.
Okay. Thank you, Paola. You can take that off the screen now, if you would. Any other suggestions for future speakers? Yes.
Suggestion.
About the city of Yes and all the housing issues. I know it's a big, complicated Megillah to try to tackle, but it does speak to a lot of housing for aging people. So, which is appropriate to this committee, but we have so many people on the committee already who probably have some insight into this. Is it something we want to have like a roundtable discussion on what that means as far as our support of the housing issues in the city of Yes?
I think what Wayne, who's the chair of the land use committee, did with the last chunk of City of Yes was he invited the chair and the members of the committees that dealt with the economic development piece to attend a presentation that city planning was giving at land use, so that the committees, the economic development committee and the licensing committee, could weigh in on that. So I would assume that he would do the same thing when they make the presentation a couple months down the road, invite housing, aging, health and human services, so that those committees can weigh in on that there. Is that the same or different than having something in this committee?
Well, I think because as we look at it as a committee, it would be interesting if we discussed it as a committee. That's my suggestion, my question. It's a big subject, I know, and it's not something that I look forward to try to tackle, but I think it's an important one for us. Just a thought.
What do others think?
Sounds interesting. Makes sense.
Okay.
So does that mean you'd ask someone at planning to come and make a presentation here? Or rather to, I mean, they wouldn't come, they come on Zoom.
Yeah.
Let me ask those on the committee, how many are you familiar with what is being proposed in the House of Yes?
I don't think it's been,
Well,
I don't think the housing piece has actually been proposed yet.
There was a meeting, I think, was it 2 days ago, where they discussed it with the public. I saw the YouTube of it yesterday, and it's pretty interesting. I'm just wondering if others are in the committee are already aware of some of the things that they're looking to do. No, it hasn't been an official proposal yet, but they sort of have a direction of what they are going to propose. If you have a familiarity with that, if maybe we could just discuss it among ourselves without bringing in somebody from the Department of City Planning. What do you think? If you guys have some familiarity, those who work in the field. I'm taking that as a no.
I think it would be good to have someone come in.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not opposed to that. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, I just know that it's coming, but I don't actually know what it is yet. So you're way more up on it.
I would recommend watching the YouTube video. The link was sent out, I think, yesterday or the day before, of this opening.
Mariola sent it out, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. And it's not all about, housing for the aging. It's all about, rezoning.
Right.
In order to include more housing in general across the city, but a substantial part of it, or maybe a third of it, they do discuss how much of it will be for the aging.
So maybe that's something to keep in mind for.
So would it be a good idea for us as homework, as members, to view that and to pay attention to any other links that are coming our way with respect to presentations by
that
CPC?
particular email has a series of.
Yeah, and then maybe have that as an agenda item for next month. And who is chairing the meeting next month in your absence?
We'll figure that out. in a
I'm
minute.
looking at you, James Bosley. Dan.
Well, we have a vice chair.
Assistant chair.
Oh, right, I
Assistant chair.
forgot, my bad.
I usually take over when I'm not here. I hope I'd be able to do so.
I knew that, not bad. But I mean, does that feel like a good idea?
And one of these times we're gonna switch places and I'm gonna go.
I'm sorry?
One of these times I'll go on vacation. It's the 7th
Yeah.
next month, right?
Oh.
Okay, that should work for me, I think that.
All right, so that will.
Vote on or not really?
Huh?
We don't have to vote on.
No, it's,
Okay.
does that make sense to you?
But that, yeah, that makes sense. We'll have to
We have to do our homework.
supersede plans for other presentations, though, probably, because
We can do more than one.
our time is short. Yeah, well,
And you go.
He chuckles mischievously.
Do it all the time, of course.
Liz is good at, you know, having 15 minutes for this and 2 minutes for that, and, you know,
Easy.
right.
Slow.
I know.
Would we want to try to have that as well as a presenter for next month? Because
Any of our participants on Zoom have anything exciting going on that they want to share more publicly next month? That's also another way.
Sorry?
That's another way of encouraging conversations amongst our group.
Yeah.
Toby has her hand up. I don't know if someone's sort of calling on her.
Toby, you have something?
Thank you. I would love to see a program that leverages what was discussed last time with the old elder people who are incarcerated. Not about incarceration, but I would love to see a program that speaks to destigmatization of different populations and how to look at the concept of kindness and compassion and how that yields a measure of resilience in older populations. I'd like to take the information that we have heard from so many different people and amazing programs and pull from it, garner from it strategies that could be used to encourage inner resilience and kindness.
If I may speak, so I'm friends with he's the director and he's the founder of the Inwood Artworks, Washington Heights Inwood Artworks. They do a film festival. They give grants to local artists and filmmakers to do films about, you know, anything in Washington Heights or Inwood. And perhaps this would be a subject that perhaps he could give a grant to if any of his filmmakers would like to interview these prisoners and how they positively impact, and to look at, you know, the situation with kindness. Perhaps that could be something that he could help with. He also does different cultural events. He does, besides film showings, he has art shows, he does art walks. Perhaps this subject could be tied into an event that would have the public more involved. I could get him to maybe come to a meeting or participate by Zoom.
Yeah, but the reason I bring it up, I think what you just said sounds great. I'm remembering back a good number of years, and there was a patient that we had who I knew nothing about other than visiting with him a few times and found him to be an interesting fellow. And the staff really didn't like him and just wanted me to leave. And what I didn't know about him at the time was that he had been incarcerated as a young man, and he was part of a group of people who were doing not nice things. And he was arrested because he was part of this group, and he had made amends, but a lot of people out in the community did not look at him as a person, but rather as someone who was incarcerated and was convicted. And okay, that happens to be an issue specific to incarceration and getting involved in things that you shouldn't. But I think that there are so many people who are associated based on different variables and without realizing it. You know, over COVID, everybody was doing the implicit bias test, but we're not always aware of how those implicit biases emerge. We don't see it. And I think a focus on empathy and kindness, which actually shores up a person's strength and helps them find their resilience, is something that's well worthwhile, especially when we're talking about older populations who sometimes are very isolated and don't have access to other people's kindnesses. So that was where my head was. But what the art is a wonderful, wonderful, productive and constructive idea.
Mary?
Mm-hmm.
I would submit that, I mean, I love this. I would submit that as agenda items go, to the extent that we're always figuring out how do we roll these values into what we talk about, I don't know that we necessarily need to have it as an agenda item next month, because we appear to be doing this right here and right now. And that's, wouldn't it be lovely if in every meeting we took some time out to talk about how do we incorporate kindness and compassion and empathy and understanding into the work we do, whatever that work is. So I thank you very much, Toby and Hannah, for bringing both of those things in. As to arts, I love the idea of inviting Aaron to come to the committee. He'd be more likely to Zoom than to attend in person, but he's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on, but I am sure that at some point he would be happy to drop in and talk about any kind of overlap with this committee. And since it's not like time specific, reach out to him, see what works for him.
Yeah.
I have one more question. Are there any funds from the city for posters for public service announcements? Like, you know, like you said, a message of kindness. Like sometimes you see these like, you know, public service announcement posters like on the bodegas or something. Perhaps like, you know, to bring light, like get the right wording, get some like a team together to figure out how to present it to the public and get that idea of, you know, sharing kindness with this particular part of the population. Do we have any funding for that?
No, I don't think so. But it's, you know, it's something to think about. Carol.
I feel terribly. I'd like to express a practical, not that kindness isn't practical, but you know, the cuts have been so much on everybody's mind, and the cuts have been changed from what was originally. In other words, an update on the cuts maybe by somebody from the mayor's office and so on and so forth, because there's a lot of misinformation around about the cuts, I think. So maybe not next time, because the direction that we're going in is a little different, but maybe for the May or something like that, to see not too long away about what's the update on the cuts. It's very practical because it affects all of us in some way or another. So, I mean, you could suggest who might be the best. Someone from the mayor's office must be, you know, qualified to give us an update.
Not sure I really want.
Well, maybe somebody is, I don't know. I wouldn't dare suggest anybody. I don't know who, a budget person or whatever, because I don't know what we've been told is rumor or fact or.
This is Maria Luna. Can I just chip in for a second about that comment? but maybe for the Department for the Aging can give us that information, because they are the one that are dealing with the city council, the mayor. Although we haven't met recently that I know of, they are the one that have the ability to lobby and to fight for all of us.
Yes, I know that they have reduced it. That's kind of what made me think, so maybe they would be the best, yes. Because we haven't had anybody from, aging for a long time, I know.
We haven't met. I'm sorry. I'm the I am the member representative for Upper Manhattan, and they haven't met officially recently. So there's very little that I can bring to these meetings.
Well, maybe by May, we'll know a little bit more, right? What do you think? I don't know. If we're talking about March and April, so maybe May we could get some.
I'm gonna send an email today, to find out if there is anything on the way for that could help us on this type of discussion for the future.
Right.
Okay.
I'd love that. Awesome.
Richard hasn't had his hand up. Let me go back to him for a minute.
There have been some absolutely wonderful ideas about future programs. I'd like to add a couple things to that. One, on films about the issues with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people. RAP, the group that we're working with, has just produced a film called The Interview. I suspect they'd be willing to bring it here to this meeting. But if anyone's interested before that, we have a screening scheduled at the A. Philip Randolph Senior Center on February 8th at 1 o'clock. It is in person. We haven't set it up for it to be a virtual presentation. That's one suggestion.
What's the name of it?
The organization is RAP.
Oh, no, I know, it's called The Interview.
The
Thanks.
film is called The Interview.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. I'd also like to suggest that we look at ways to address mental wellness, mental health issues. And looking at who's at this meeting, I think a majority of people here are dealing with those issues professionally or with friends, neighbors, and colleagues one way or another. A suggestion on a possible way to do that would be to have an internal discussion within the committee at some future meeting to identify the issues on which we'd like to learn more, advocate more, whatever the piece is, and then look for a presenter or panel who could help move on that. I have a couple thoughts at this point on who would be good presenters, but maybe that should wait till after we have a little further discussion. We might also look at a presentation on nutrition and issues in nutrition as people age. There's a lot of, Columbia's got a very good nutrition department that does presentations to senior centers and does a pretty wide range of presentations. And it might be a good place to look for that. One other issue that I think would be worth figuring out how to deal with is caregiving. An awfully high percentage of seniors, one way or another, are doing caregiving. And a high percentage of that is women. There are groups and people out there that are looking at ways to put together caregiver support groups, provide information on what people need just to work their way through this. I think probably some of it comes under the name respite care, but there's a range of ways that we could present on that issue and learn from that issue. Thank you.
I have a question. Is Barbara Bear, did she make it on? And Richard, can you lower your hand, please?
I can't hear you.
Richard, can you lower your hand, please? Thank
It's
you.
not up.
You're killing me. The man has no kids and yet he's just rolling in dad jokes. Did Barbara Bear ever make it onto the
No.
meeting?
No.
That's odd, because I did spoke with her, Paula sent her the information. Um, I believe it. Yeah.
What did she say that she didn't know about it?
She didn't get the log on, the participant, the presenter link. So we did just send it to her and, not really sure what's going on there.
Yeah.
Well, you want to update us on your vacation? Tell us about it, Linda.
That's be on the agenda.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we mined item F pretty deep.
I'm sorry?
I think we've mined item F pretty deep.
We do have a guest who wants to present something.
Excellent.
Yeah. A couple of things there.
Yeah, but that's 6 months, right? Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So we had a lot of thoughts and ideas. Some of these things, you know, I'm always concerned because I just don't know how we get this information out to the community. And that's, you know, I mean, you know, we were going, you know, before pre-COVID, we were going to senior centers and actually there and, you know, involving the seniors, at least at that center, you know, each month. So that we, you know, I think there was a better feeling that we were getting information out to the community.
Yes. It was
I'm not
always
sure, you know, outside of this room, what happens.
You're reading my mind, Becky. I might say so, that I was going to ask when might we resume going to the senior centers?
The problem is this equipment. You have to have excellent Wi-Fi
Now,
and
I think
the ability to have this stuff at the center.
I think we could get it done, but we could talk about it because we had a presentation that we did that had all kinds of equipment. I don't know, I wouldn't be able to set it up, but we have it. We have a lot of equipment.
Hannah,
I don't know about the others.
I didn't understand that you wanted to actually take the meetings to the senior centers.
Yeah.
We did that before COVID, yeah.
I was also just
We were
wondering,
going from one to the other, you know.
like you said, to distribute the information to the senior centers. I was wondering if we could coordinate with maybe students, like college students, like, I don't know, like if there's certain places where they can get them, like volunteer work or employment, like taking everything that these things we discuss and present them at senior centers for us, or to organize something like that.
I don't know, that would be difficult at best. I don't know, you know, we have a student here who might be able to give us some insight on that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
To come to the senior centers, do a little presentation to the seniors so they're aware of these different programs like provision or traveling, you know, whatever these programs may be. And just to go make a short presentation, you know, whoever's available to see it, and then, you know, just maybe even if it's once a month or once a week, you know, just to have already the materials for the students and they can get maybe credits or something, you know, something. Thank you. I think, will we have
Okay.
our guest present?
Yeah. Hang on. All right, so Carmen.
Yes.
Tell us. Richard, is it a new hand?
Yeah, I've been talky today. Another
Yeah, but I
thing,
want- Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Actually,
Another thing we might do that we might be able to do a little quicker on getting the word out. CB12 now has a monthly newsletter, which is also sometimes weekly. I believe these meetings are filmed. We could provide a link, you know, a short summary and a link to an edited version of the film that has the, the particular presentation. That would take some labor, but not that much.
Mary?
Yes.
So I just spoke with Barbara. The
Oh.
link was finally sent,
Oh.
but there was a typo in the link, so she still didn't get it. So I was about
wow.
to forward it to her, and she said she has a noon meeting. So can she come in March? So I believe we now have our March agenda, which will be Barbara Bear.
Okay. Thank you, Liz, for helping out with that. I appreciate it. Okay.
Is the link, the link for the meetings, is it the same from month to month? Or is it different?
What it is now is that people have to go in, the weekly letter?
Yeah.
There.
No, if you're present, never mind. I'll follow up. That's
Presentation.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay.
Carmen.
I'm Carmen Munoz, I'm NYPD Community Coordinator. So the purpose for us is like to connect the aging, to connect the older adults with the law enforcement. So now what we're trying to do is like provide social services for the aging, like to go to the senior centers, to go to senior buildings and things like that. So besides that, besides providing all those services, we also do like presentation. So for example, we went to a Star Senior Center and we did how to prevent diabetes. It was a nice event. We also go to senior building and we do activities like bingo, painting, things that make them feel good, feel comfortable, and to keep their mind busy. So this is, I just want like be more connected with them because I know that some of them, they don't have computer or they don't have somebody who can help them to do those services that we're going to provide. So if there is any person that might need help with those services, they can reach out to Community Affairs Bureau or they can reach out to me. So what we're trying to do now is like get places. So my next step is go to a Star Senior Center. So I'm going to make some appointments over there. And then I will go to Precinct 33. So to see how many people really need those services. For example, like Section E recertification, food stamp application and recertification, NYCHA application.
You're with the NYPD, Community Affairs Unit, providing actual social services to seniors, which is what DFTA does, which is what HRA does, which is what all of these senior centers do. Why is the NYPD branching out in this way? I'm so confused.
No. The thing is that I used to work in those services. So now because I'm working with the NYPD, I'm helping the seniors with those services. So it's not like I just go and do it. No.
Yeah, I get it.
I go to the senior centers and I ask them if you need help with those services, I can come here and help you.
Right, no,
This
your
is
question
the-
is, is someone doing this already?
That's great. I'm so confused why the
Setting down
NYPD
resources.
is getting into this particular business. It seems like not a great fit with the overall mission of the NYPD. I get that you're great at your job. You love seniors,
and that you want to provide these, I get that.
That's
I
what it is.
just, I'm not understanding what part of any of this
Who do you report
has
to?
any, like,
Is it-
I'm just gonna sit here and stew in my own confusion.
Is it to open up channels between the police department and the aging community? So that there's a certain form of communication and to gain a little more trust and simpatico with the police department by reaching out to them and providing these services. Is that part of the agenda?
It's, well, this is something that I brought to the table to my inspector and all the supervisors. And they say, well, it's okay if you want to help. It's not something that I just want to go and do it by myself. Because I know that human services, those services. So that's why I go and I ask the person in charge who provide those services. If it's good for them, me help them.
Got it.
Is there anyone else doing this or is it just you?
No, in my office, I'm the one that is going to do it. Me as a community trying to help our seniors.
And how successful have you been so far? How long have you been doing it?
No, this is, we
Brand new
start,
program.
we start in the.
When again, Carmen? Not right now.
No, not right now. The thing is, I'm trying to do it now because for most people in some agencies, they charge them, I'm not talking about senior building and things like that. They charge them $20 to do the taxes, right? So I say it's not fair because I know how to do it. So they only going to receive $63. It's not fair to pay 20 when we can help them to do it for free.
Okay.
There are some,
So the New York City Police Department is now doing senior citizens
I was gonna
taxes.
ask that question.
I'm not doubting your qualifications. There is no part of any of this that rests in the NYPD.
She's not gonna be able to answer your question, I don't think. This is what she's told to do.
Well, I think it's because it's community affairs.
Exactly.
Because
That's
it's
what it is.
community
Because
affairs.
it's a
It's not-
community.
Yeah.
It's
No.
not an investigation.
Yeah, no,
No.
that is not what NYPD community affairs does.
no,
So they do establish relationships with the communities, plural. And so maybe this is one way to establish this relationship with the aging. That was my conjecture.
Okay.
the one thing I have to say, about Carmen and her position, this is, I've met Carmen at precinct council meeting, okay? And so, as Liz is saying, I've been confused as well. So I'm glad it's not just me.
Yeah.
But
It seems like
okay.
it's not within the realm of the police department's mission.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Carol.
I'm viewing it as, to use the phrase, picking up the slack.
I don't think I want the NYPD picking up the slack in social
Well, that's
services.
another.
That makes about as much sense as that makes about as much sense as someone from DIFTA saying, you know what? Seniors don't feel really safe. We're gonna get a bunch of people, we're gonna get them licensed with firearms, and we're gonna help them,
Not
keep
exactly
communities
the
safe.
same, not
No,
exactly.
this is, I would respectfully request that we move the agenda. And since we have no more agenda items, I would respectfully request that we.
Oh, no, we can't do that because I gotta talk about my vacation.
Oh, my God.
But I also have Lisa. Lisa has her hand up. Has had her hand up.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I think all these concerns make sense. And the thing is, I think when presenting a service being offered, it's good to say who's funding it, what they're funding, and how the service is being shared. So I think there's a little bit more clarity that would be helpful for Carmen to articulate in an organized way who's funding it, why they're funding it, and what exactly is the way to get access to those services. I mean, I think also the point that it's falling through the cracks, whatever's falling through the cracks, great. But, you know, this is the main issue, is people getting access to the help they need. People are jumping in out of desperation, and that's what it sounds like what's happening with whatever Carmen's program is. But again, it seems like communication about what exactly it is, who's funding it, why they're funding it, because I think, you know, the police department and mental health services have started a new partnership, right? So I think the aim towards having new partnerships of the police and other community organizations doesn't seem that foreign. It just seems very disorganized, and the rollout seems very haphazard. So that's just feedback that maybe would be helpful for Carmen and whoever she's providing services to. I just wanted to throw that out there. I have to be excused. I have another meeting. Thank you so much for this meeting.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay.
Maria.
Thank you so much. The issue with Carmen, although she met at our community council meeting last month, and I think that she spoke with Mary about this, and I asked Carmen that we needed to discuss this a little further because she doesn't understand the dynamics that we have on the aging and the process that she's trying to address now. So I am surprised to see her here today. But anyway, I will contact Carmen later on to clear this thing up. Also, I wanted to take this opportunity as a former chair of the Community Board 12 to officially have this on record in our particular aging committee for the aging. Herbert Howard, which is a very instrumental person in our community and at the citywide on the aging issues, passed away in December. If you recall, through him and my work, we set up this aging committee because we never had a Community Board 12, an aging committee. So when we discussed the needs of the aging in our community, we said, okay, we're going to set up this committee, official committee, and he headed that committee for over like 12 years. He did a fantastic work. He not only was a member of Community Board 12, he was also a member of Riverstone and the others, some other senior centers in our community. Also, he was the president of the synagogue, the Mount Sinai Synagogue. Okay, so he passed away in December. January 21st, there was a great memorial, but I want to make sure that people in the Community Board 12, not just members, but the people who reside within the Community Board 12 area, acknowledge the contribution of Herb Howard to all of us, and we should not forget him. So I just don't know, you know, how to continue life, but I just want everyone that is sitting there. I mean, most of you, a lot of you knew him, but I want to just to make sure that we acknowledge his contribution to all of us for, you know.
Maria, we did do that last month at our meeting.
On our, okay, I wasn't on your, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Now, if I may, just one last thing. I just want to say, as a person who's personally gone through the shelter system, I've been in a family shelter with all my children, and I witnessed how crime and, you know, lack of these services contribute to each other. So I think what Carmen is doing is actually a great thing, because it would prevent more shoplifting. It would prevent more, you know, kids not knowing what to do with themselves. It would prevent desperate. You know, some people just, they don't have, HRA is not really a friendly place. So HRA is notorious for losing your case. It's notorious for making you wait for hours. So the more there are these kind of services for the community, I see that it would benefit in terms of, you know, you don't need law enforcement if no one is breaking the law. And the reason why people break the law is because very often they don't have their basic needs. So I do see a benefit to what Carmen is doing. I may not see right now for the seniors as being the strong point, I think, but again, outreach there is. Some people do not even know how to ask a question. In the Jewish tradition, we have the 4 sons, and there's one that doesn't even know how to ask. So sometimes you need to reach out to them. So I just want to say, like, I am in support of what Carmen is doing, although it may not be clear to everyone who hasn't actually lived through certain situations where it would make sense.
Okay, thank you for that.
It was going to be an issue. It's not something that I just come and do it. So I thought that it was going to be a good help for senior building and senior centers. Something that I was going to do with the permission of the person that works in those buildings. And in those seniors, for example, sometimes they have too many people. So if they have an extra help, I don't see that there is a problem with that. It is not something that I'm doing.
Carmen?
That's not the question.
No one is questioning that, but
Yeah, we need to go ahead because I have, just one more important thing to talk about. And our time is actually over. My vacation, I will be away from March 5th to March 26th. That will include meeting coverage for the committee meeting, for the general meeting, and for the executive meeting. Thank you, Liz. So,
it's on you, Yosef.
No, I'll cover
Joseph?
the meeting, and hopefully the general meeting, I have to see the calendar for the executive.
I'm sorry.
If we don't, I'll have to see the executive meeting, I'll have to see, we may not have any, agenda items to share either, I'll have to see.
I will hopefully have the agenda, ready
Great.
for, not just for March, but for April as well.
I mean, if there's no,
So-
so the committee may not need to be
Right.
represented
At the executive meeting, you're saying?
in March. It sometimes happens that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll send you.
You want to cover the executive meeting?
Third Monday.
I don't have my calendar with me, I will see.
Probably Monday, the 18th. Your hangover should be.
My hangover?
Day after St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, I don't feel it.
Mine won't.
Okay.
And I'll be in the room and stuff.
Motion to adjourn?
Want to make sure. Okay, so our next meeting will be March 7th at 10:30 a.m. Motion to adjourn?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
My student disappeared. Ran away on us.
James's pen?
Huh?
No, I found mine.
Oh, you found it.
Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Thank you, Carmen. Well, thank you all. Please take more across one. There's another package of them. And there's coffee if anybody wants to get more coffee.
Thank you so much. Have a great time. You're come back. I immediately think of the song by the Beatles.
Huh?
I think of the song by the Beatles.
Wait. Uh-huh.
Well, it was very nice, Mary.
So this meeting has been adjourned as of 12:07 a.m. PM.
Felt very safe.
Yes.
I felt safer there than I feel.